Heard on Thursdays with Nikki is about to go live online. Catch HOT, the iconic radio show that made Philippine FM radio talk, every Thursday on the Monster.
Streaming video on the Monster Facebook page at RX931, the Monster YouTube channel at RX931, and twitch.tv/Monster RX931.
You heard on Thursdays host, Nikki Porter. Stand by and enjoy the program.
Hey, monsters! Yes, good evening! Don't you just love the track from Lizzo, About Damn Time? Because it's turn up the music, na 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 na, it's about damn time. Well, it's about time you loved who you are and be proud of who you are. Because it's Pride Month. And Heard on Thursdays too, the monster show that made FM radio talk. And I'm your host, Nikki Porter. Pride Month is a celebration of the LGBTQIA plus community. But you don't have to be queer to qualify for Pride. And in a broader sense, Pride Month is about accepting and loving who you are, whoever you are, honestly, authentically, expressively, and proudly. Because in the immortal words of our modern day philosopher, Rupaul Charles, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love somebody else? As a matter of fact, the Metro Manila Pride Parade happens this Saturday, June 25th at the CCP Open Grounds. And there are several occasions also where we can celebrate Pride around Manila. And this particular Pride Parade in CCP, it's also billed as Southeast Asia's largest Pride Festival with this year's theme, Atin ang Kulayaan. Makibeki ngayon, atin ang panahon. I hope I said that right. Tonight, to talk with Pride of Pride, we bring back one of the most prominent LGBT MSM support groups in the country, Love Yourself PH. Now, Love Yourself believes that self-worth is key to building an empowered community, and the group hopes to ignite in each one an active desire for a healthy and vibrant self-worth, especially among the youth and males who have sex with males or MSMs. Through awareness, education, counseling, fun social interactions, and other activities, Love Yourself takes delight in spreading the message of the value of self-worth and the critical importance of loving oneself. So time to celebrate Pride. Heard on Thursdays, Raybert Domingo, or as we like to call him, Bet Domingo, Director for Communications and Community Development of Love Yourself, and Diego Rozul, a volunteer of Love Yourself PH. Welcome to the show. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Good evening, everyone.
Good
It's so
evening.
nice to have you on the show. Very
Mabuhay.
happy. Mabuhay. I love them.
Yes, of course. Happy Pride.
I know. Happy Pride,
Yes.
monsters. Happy Pride to Beth and to Diego as well. Now, I know both of you are very busy because of Pride Month. And the first question I would like to ask, though, is not super related yet, but I do like to ask all my guests this, was what were you doing during the pandemic? Like, what kept you busy outside of work? Did you find a new hobby, a new binge watch, a new lifestyle that you created during the pandemic? Let's start with Diego.
Actually, sobrang dami namin ginawa. As a volunteer of Love Yourself, ever since the pandemic hit, service delivery was one of the things na inaalala namin. How would we get our life-saving drugs to our clients? No, how would we still offer HIV testing and HIV prevention during the pandemic? So actually, we we worked overtime then to still provide these services and still show that HIV is an important thing to take into account during the pandemic.
Mhm. What about Beth?
Okay, I'll take it first personal, no.
Hmm.
We established a startup company called All Right Studios and Spaces Manila, wherein we provide services, offer services on media production, events to companies, to advocacies. That's where my parang pandemic life circled around during those times. And basically, in Love Yourself, I became the director of communications during the pandemic, and we were able to provide the services even with the pandemic. We didn't stop providing our services. We did not close actually as a
Mm-mm.
healthcare provider, no, primary healthcare provider for these services. We tried to um, sustain our services through shifting online our services online so that we will be able to provide these services to our community. So yeah.
Mm. So a lot of it is still like mostly it's still work centered, no? Like especially in terms of like trying to help out those who were in need, especially during this time of crisis, which is really nice. But like was there anything like for yourself na parang, what was your self-soothing during the pandemic? Parang did you find any particular hobby that was like okay, some people were knitting, some people were baking. What was it for you guys? Diego,
Uh,
meron ba?
well, a recent thing for me actually was tinkering with computers. I'm a big
Ooh.
gamer, so I recently uh, discovered the world of handheld PC gaming. So I invested in a GPD Win 2 and kind of lost myself in a sea of emulators.
Wow. Emulators. I will look that up later. Anyway, no, it's pretty cool that you actually found yourself to be into like gaming then. I mean, and not just like just gaming, but also, building, this
Yeah.
particular device, no? What about for Bet? What was it to soothe, to keep
Siguro very COVID related, no. I've never had COVID, but my family members did. So parang ako yung nag-alaga sa kanila, and parang yun yung
mm,
naging hobby ko every now and then, to provide care and services to the yung may mga COVID kong friends and family members. So parang feeling ko yun yung nagkaroon akong self-discovery that I can do these things na extend myself to people na kahit nakakahawa yung sakit nila, like kasakit talaga, no? But
mm-mm,
actually, I was able to help them and recover. Naka-recover naman sila kahit papaano. And now, I actually have a friend who has a COVID, no? So sadly, but
mm-mm.
kahit papaano natulungan ko siya in a way na nandun yung mga gamit ko sa kanya. So yeah.
Yeah. That's great. At least you're still trying to find a way, like not work related, but it's really like out of the goodness of your heart na parang they need my help. I want to be there for them. So that's really nice. That's really sweet.
Mm.
Now, speaking of lockdown, thank God we're not really there anymore, no? Your group Love Yourself PH is an LGBTQ support group, but specifically it caters to MSMs or males who have sex with other males. During those days and weeks and months of quarantine, did you know? Were you aware that there was still a lot of dating going on? Were there people actively, hooking up during lockdown? Who can answer this guy? Let's go with Bet.
Uh,
Yeah. We did research on behavior. Actually, Jago was part of the research team in 2020, wherein we asked MSMs, actually, the key population for HIV, if they are still engaging in sexual behavior. So,
Mhm.
and based on that research, there are people who are still engaging in sexual intercourse. So may it be penetrative or not, they are
Mm-mm.
engaging into. So what we are trying to say is that even with the pandemic, we still need to provide information, awareness, and the services for HIV and AIDS so that people will still be parang nandun pa din yung kanilang isip na meron
Mm.
ding risk on risky sexual behavior. So
Mm-mm.
there. And maybe Diego can add.
yeah. So yun, basically nag-survey kami.
Mm-mm.
uh, Tapos yun, nakita nga namin na marami pa rin talagang nagse-sex. So that really means na ah, walang makakapigil kapag gustong-gusto mo. So you have there's always a way, and for us as people in the advocacy, there's also always a way to provide protection to these people, no. So syempre as stigmatized as some people can think of it, no, yung iba patago nilang ginagawa. So the more na ngayon na the more during the pandemic, no, na medyo mas patago. So mas kailangan natin i-reach out natin at mas i-provide yung services natin.
Yeah, and I like what you said na, uh, there's always a way na
Yes.
people pasaway ang tao eh. So there's always a way na parang, may pumaparaan pa rin yung tao. Pero
Mm-mm.
pumaparaan yung tao like to protect themselves kahit na, you know, your body is saying yes. Diba? So
Correct, correct.
yeah, so I like that distinction that you made. Like even if there is a way for you to hook up, there is a way for you to hook up safely
Safely,
and
yes.
with protection. So that's a really good message that you guys are bringing out there. Not like necessarily prohibiting them from doing so, but it's really just like buhay mo yan, pero this is what you can do to
Mm-mm.
prevent, any diseases or infections that might come your
Yeah.
way. So, now was there like during the survey that you conducted though, how were they hooking up? Did you ask that question by any chance? So parang, how were they hooking up? Like how were they meeting other people? Were they using online dating apps? Were they just there strictly just to hook up so that they can relieve themselves of the stress and anxiety? Was there anything that was indicated in that sense in the survey?
Actually, we did a baseline survey, then a midline survey. So, actually, when we look at the difference, parang dumami yung nagka-jowa. So, parang, ah, so maraming naging one partner na lang. So,
Mm-mm.
siguro nag-live-in na rin sila at that
Mm-mm.
point, no? Which is a story then of a lot of people. Well, not a lot, but some people that I know na yung medyo ka-hook up nila naging nakasama na nila during the lockdown, tapos naging sila na rin after all.
Yes. And
Mm.
we're actually doing this as a marketing strategy for our campaigns. No, we are also looking into the applications and the social media behaviors of our respondents. So actually, they are very keen on using Twitter, even Grinder. So they are
Mm.
Grinder, if you know, is a dating app for gay men. So
Mm-mm.
they are
Mm-mm.
using those lumabas yun sa ating research, no? And they are using those during the pandemic. So to socialize because everybody is online, so might as well find somebody else online too and talk with them and maybe hook up.
Mm-mm.
So
All right. Well, it's also, there's always the talking stage now when it comes to these these dating apps. Always the talking stage. Sometimes it never goes past the talking stage. But I guess
Yeah.
in the stems, hugot ba yun? Hindi. But for
parang
naman. No, but I also want to know. So, like, with all of these people using dating apps, also trying to find, either a joa or just someone to hook up with, was there during the pandemic an illicit thrill? Like, was there a thrill mismo na parang that even fueled pandemic dating even more? Like, was there a sense of excitement to it, or was it more of like, I just want to not be alone during this moment in time?
I guess it
personally,
would
sige, go.
depend. Yeah. It would depend on the person, no? Beth, yeah, is one of the people who got a jowa during the pandemic.
Congrats!
So
Nakakaloka may
go.
pag-reveal ko.
May
Well,
reveal. I
actually,
Oh,
expose
personally,
you.
yes.
Joa reveal next. Okay, okay. So ano, nagka-Jordan. But is there anything that you like to add, Beth?
Yeah, basically, in those nawala ako sa ano is
Ala.
in those instances sometimes people parang 'di ba yung nare-restrict ka, mas kumakawala ka, parang gano'n eh.
Mm.
So, but in these times of pandemic, no, some of the organizations really parang gumawa ng safe house for their employees. And Love Yourself also did that. And doon ko nakilala yung jowa ko. So, basically,
Ayun.
ayun. So, mga ganun. Ay, maraming kwento rin na gano'n. To other people na para kayong nasa Big Brother house, parang ganong levels. And then, mas intimate, mas close, and then pandemic. So, ayun, extra careful with each other, ganyan. So, ayun, I think yun. Ikaw, Diego.
Right.
Nako, wala.
Okay lang, pareho
Quite the
tayo.
opposite.
It's okay. Pero you, nag-talking stage ka, no? Feel ka
Yeah,
nag-talking stage ka.
ayun. Usap-usap lang talaga pero kasi parang dahil nga lockdown noon at kahit naman din ngayon,
Mm.
you're still cautious. You don't wanna go out agad-agad din. Kaya parang,
Mm. True. All in due time. Sure.
yes.
Mangyayari din yan, Diego. I believe in you.
I believe in
So,
you too.
thank
Well,
you. Yes.
actually, magandang anecdote dun sa Grindr. Some of the users are actually parang providing information that they are vaccinated, that they
Yeah.
don't have
Yeah.
COVID. So they are evolving
Yeah,
with
that's
time.
true. Yeah, dating apps actually did add like how would you like to meet? In the crowd? Outdoors? Like would you like to be a meter apart while you're spending time together? Kind of thing. So it was really interesting when I saw that also. The changes that they made to adjust to the pandemic times. But now, since restrictions have eased though, people are getting together again, if not hooking up again. And so do you think like now that it's less restrictions. People are making up for lost time. This is roaring 20s now. We're back in the 20s, like from a century ago. People were partying and getting together and like, enjoying all bits of merriment. And so, is there a lot of dating or mating going on? But is there also a danger to this, also, especially now? Who can answer this?
Well,
Okay, Diego.
yeah. I guess, yeah, dumadami na. I mean, when you walk in Greenfield or when you walk sa in malls, ang dami mo nang makikita nagde-date. Which is nakakaano, 'di ba? Nakaka-inspire and also nakakatuwa that people can already go out. In terms of is it a dangerous time? I guess it's only dangerous if you're not protecting yourselves, no? Yeah, that.
Well, it's actually good na right now since open na din yung ating mga services talaga in full context of it, no? Our centers are already accepting walk-ins, but they still need to set appointments at some point. In those instances, sumabay naman yung ating mga services, no? While people are getting engaged with other people, no?
Mm-mm.
Mas maganda rin na sinasabi natin yung ating mga services sa kanila through campaigns, through awareness, no? We also would like to emphasize na even though wala kang access point, no, right now, through
Mm.
online may makakausap kayong mga tao na pwede silang magbigay at magturo sa inyo kung saan kayo pwedeng kumuha ng condoms, kumuha
Mm-mm.
ng PrEP, which is a medication na you take so that you won't be able to get HIV even if you are doing sexual relationship with each other, with one another, no?
Mm.
And also it's also nice to know to provide this services on treatment so that if in case man nagkaroon sila ng kasex na PLHIV or person living with HIV, if this person is taking treatment and regularly, at naging undetectable na ang kanyang status, meaning mababang-mababa na yung virus sa katawan, they won't be able to transmit the virus. So,
Mm.
extra safer, parang safer siya to sex with a person na alam niya yung HIV status and undetectable than sa hindi.
Yeah, for
Mm,
sure. Kasi you don't want to run that risk, no? And
correct.
it's about prevention and not like after the fact that you've gotten it. Like that would be like the best thing for you. Now, love yourself, PH. It's a very nice and very welcoming center and community, especially for this particular community as well. But could you share with the monsters who are tuned in, like what is its main mission? How long has it been around, and what are the current projects that you're doing at the moment? Let's go with
Okay.
that.
Okay. Love Yourself is a community-based organization. It's a private company wherein it started in 2011, July. No, we're be- we're 11 years now, so next month. So there. Actually, Love Yourself, as you mentioned earlier, no, is really into developing one's or empowering one's self-worth. Ano ba yung self-worth natin? It can determine our parang life choices. Like
Mm,
if we were going to engage in sexual risky behavior, our self-worth is a determinant on our actions. No. Also, if we want to access services like HIV services, sexual health services, yung tipong ikaw ay self-aware and yung confidence mo ay nag-help for you to access those services na hindi ka mahihiya, na
mm,
hindi mo iisipin yung sinasabi ng iba. Iisipin mo na you love yourself, that's why you're doing this one. So, kaya
mm,
yun din yung core value ng love yourself is to really love yourself, to dare to be yourself, to care for yourself and to share this this love for yourself to others as well. That's why we are creating ripples of positive change in the community by just loving yourself, no. Ayan.
mm. And so for Diego naman, like what are the current campaigns that Love Yourself has that maybe some of the monsters might be curious in wanting to partake, wanting to join currently, or just like for their information, it might be helpful to them.
Yeah. Actually, besides sexual health services, which has been the longest running program that Love Yourself has had, we also have trans health services. No? So, for our brothers and sisters out there who want to start their transition journey uh, with gender affirming hormone therapy, um, they can go to Victoria by Love Yourself. It's in Pasay. No, it's the first se- community-led trans health center in the Philippines, actually. So we have that. Then we also have the Flourish Circle. It's a program based for mental health. No, so it's a community-based program for mental health. So it's kind of like a sharing circle. You
Mm,
get assigned with a bunch of people. You talk about your feelings, and we actually have a program. We have structured sessions. We used to do it face to face, but now since we are still in the pandemic and we don't want to involve any risk, no, we are currently doing it online.
mm-mm.
So yeah, those
So
are the current
okay,
programs.
those are the current campaigns and programs that monsters might be interested in joining as well. If it's helpful to you, it doesn't hurt to actually look it up and see for yourself and what works and just try it out. You never know. You never know what it might actually change your life.
Yeah.
So in terms of Pride Month now, this weekend is pretty much jam packed with events. Now, off air, we were talking about how it's not just one Pride March that's happening; it's in different cities where we're having this Pride March. So, could you tell us about this? And in terms of like also the current theme, which is, and I hope I said it right the first time, atin ang kulayaan. Makibeki ngayon, ati ng panahon. Is that right? Did I say that right? Do I get like did I feel that?
Did fine.
Okay, okay. Well, so tell us about it. Tell us a different, like tell us about more about this theme at the moment and then all the different marches that will be happening this weekend.
Actually, that theme is applies to the Pride March, the Pride event organized by Metro Manila Pride. So, pre-pandemic, they were actually the ones organizing the Pride marches, the ones in
Mm.
Marikina and in Grandstand. So, right now, they're gonna do it in Pasay City again,
Mhm.
with that moniker. So a lot of performers gonna be there. Then of course the yearly march would be happening. Bet
Yeah. So that's what you promoted earlier, no? Metro
Mm-mm.
Manila Pride. So Love Yourself actually supported that Pride March, Pride event, no? We will be providing a booth, and we will also some of our volunteers will be attending that. And the other Pride that will be happening on June 25 will be the I Love for Love, which will be on Quezon City Circle, I think, in
yes,
Quezon City. So there will be also different performances. There will be also booths, and Love Yourself will also have its own after these big Pride events. Will be on Sunday, June 26th. That's Love Yourself um, Pride Convention. So LoveCon PH. So you can just look up hashtag LoveCon PH. No, there will be a lot of performances. There will be booths and meet and greet. We will also do a high heels protest. You're gonna be wearing heels, and then we're gonna protest on things that we are needing to highlight in our advocacy. And also, this is gonna be in Arcovia City in Pasig. So there,
Wow.
hopefully you're gonna be there too.
Yeah, I mean, okay, whenever I see these pride marches, these parades, like not just even like all around the world because like you have these different pride marches all around the world going on.
Yes.
Everyone seems to be having such a great time. Everyone is dressed to the nines. Everyone looks fabulous, especially you know what drag queens. What I love about them, they can do makeup better than me, and so I really admire. I admire how great they are at doing makeup and then wearing high
Correct.
heels that I can't walk in. Like it's I can't even walk in 3-inch heels. Okay, so the fact that they're on platforms plus really high heels, that's crazy, but it's really admirable like how they do it. So it's really fun and I really wanna try and experience it for sure. LoveCon, I love that name also. That's such a cute way of not cute. It's a fantastic way of actually just spreading also this awareness of like pride and loving yourself. Very appropriate. Now, in terms of there's this conventional notion among us Filipinos that, by and large, we're gay friendly people. And despite cases of bullying and oppression, we're generally accepting, even sometimes fond of gays and lesbians, even as we hold on to some stereotypes. And, the hate and discrimination isn't as bad here as it is in other countries. So, what can you say about this particular impression? We've seen, gays and lesbians in media, especially here in Filipino movies. We always have that one stereotype character, the friend, also like the comic relief. But what would be your impression on this, especially now? Let's start with Diego.
well, gay representation in the media has always been challenging thing to overcome. No, when you talk to more closeted or discreet gay people, they would say that uh, they don't really want to relate to those stereotypes. No, they always complain that they're the pressure to be the comic relief or
Mm,
to
right.
be the pressure to just keep things light. No? Which doesn't really resonate for every kind of every person. No? So
True.
um, it's really good to have better gay representation now, especially during the pandemic, nagkaroon ng mga BLs, and we're slowly improving upon these representations as well. No, having um, out and proud gay actors play gay roles and actually, you know, but be a person of this experience, telling the story of this experience as well. You know? It's not
Mm-mm.
just acting; it's giving justice to people who are queer as well and who have talents.
Mm-mm. Is there anything you'd like to add to that as well, Beth?
Well, I actually agree with Diego. No, in terms of acting, we need also to cast those actors who are really gay,
Mm,
not just portraying as gay,
right.
or part of the LGBTQ. Also, we also need to provide more um, value to the entertainment um, of portraying these personalities, like what RuPaul Drag Race is about. So, or the Modern Family. So, very very Western yung no, mga
Mm-mm.
references, but because we don't have this in the Philippines, no. Right now, we have Drag Race Philippines, but it's not yet on air. But
Mm-mm.
I guess we need to have more of these types of material out in the media so that we would be able to normalize these kinds of discussions na okay lang naman maging bakla. Okay naman talaga maging bakla. We
Mm-mm.
don't need to prove anything. We exist, no, and we are valid in our own rights.
Mm-mm. Yeah,
It ma-
and no, go ahead, Diego.
it actually makes me think of something that Peaches Christ said on Dragula season 4. There was an acting challenge kasi about a gay effeminate priest character. So when the queen was acting this role, she was very acting very stereotypically. And Jesus
Mm,
Christ really just said na you don't have to act like a confident gay, a confident feminine person. You just have to be that confident feminine person. So that I think that really resonated with me. Na parang you don't have to rely on stereotypes when you people who are that are just that. No.
Correct. Mm-mm.
yeah. And these stereotypes, no, especially growing up with it, it's kind of like especially if you're going through this change in your life and realizing that you haven't really been living authentically, but you also start to question with these characters that you've lived with, grew up with, like, am I supposed to be like that? Also, parang it has that negative, sort of negative, kind of influence in that person, when really that's just a character in a movie that or show that doesn't show like the full dimension, full complex person that this
Mm-mm.
person could be. It's just a character when really people are very complex. And so
Yes.
it's nice now that there are some productions now that do focus on these kinds of stories as well. And Marky from the Morning Rush, like he was part of one also. And so it's really nice to it's a start for us, definitely, in media, to try and be more accepting and try to give better characters and personalities to gays and lesbians on screen. So in terms of the MSM community, do you have any idea or any figures as to how large it is in the Philippines or in NCR plus?
Based on the DOH population size estimates, no, 10% of the total male population in the Philippines are MSM, and
Mm.
10% of the MSM population are transgender women.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Which
That's
actually
interesting.
big,
poses
mm,
kumbaga a conflate medyo conflated siya kasi trans women are not men,
yes,
no.
based, yeah, yun kasi yung parang data gathering of DOH. Mm,
Mm. There has to be another count then.
Yes.
Yes,
Para
definitely.
mas mabuti.
But as of the moment, that's where
Yeah.
the
All
And
right.
baseline.
also, I guess I guess magandang way segue na to explain what MSM is. No, MSM doesn't necessarily mean that they're
Gay.
homosexual
Mm,
or bisexual. They can be sex workers actually who are straight and are having sex with men. No, so that there
okay.
is that that spectrum of what an MSM is.
That's interesting. All right. Thank you
Yeah.
for including that because, at first, like, when you think of MSM, which I just learned like a couple days ago also of the term, it's kind of like,
Mm-mm.
oh, okay. And then you go ahead and explain, like, it's not just that one single, like, narrow spectrum. It's actually even, sex workers, as you say,
Yeah.
they have to do it. It's their job also.
It's basically it's basically based on sexual behavior, no? So
Right.
that we can veer away with the notion that HIV is a gay disease. So
Right.
straight people can also be infected with HIV, but yeah,
Yes.
with through protection and everything, we can limit or reduce those kinds of infections. So not
Right.
necessarily within the community, bakla ka, may HIV ka na agad. Di ba? Hindi naman siya gano'n.
Totoo,
It
yeah.
can be passed on human to human. So not necessarily gay person born gay and then you'll have that disease. No.
So, do you think though, we should follow cues on LGBTQ issues from the Western perspective? That is to say, American or European. We see how progressive they're becoming in terms of how to be more inclusive and have to have more representation in the workforce, in terms of just being an ally really for this community. Or do you think that we should follow their footsteps in terms of how to address and how to accept LGBTQ or address LGBTQ issues, or should we have our own uniquely Southeast Asian or even Filipino way of dealing with LGBTQIA plus issues?
For me, we can follow their lead, especially on laws, because they
Mm,
already have same-sex marriage. Some of especially in the US, they also have protection for um, the transgender people. So all of these kinds of institutionalized laws, no, we can also follow their lead. But in terms of cultural, maybe we can have our own.
right.
Yes.
So yeah.
I agree with that. Kasi especially, the westernization of the Philippines, yun yung nag-take away actually sa atin about being more accepting with regards to our gender crosses or our babaylan, no?
Mm,
Uh, so, kumbaga, na acting beyond the expected gender roles was villainized or demonized actually by Western culture and was
mm.
formalized in education. So, kumbaga, parang in a way, they started this problem and they're trying to correct it already.
Fair
Uh,
point. Yeah.
Kaya parang with us as Filipinos having already pre-colonial notions of gender crossing and actually being more accepting, no, of uh, of more queer identities. We
Yeah.
have to relearn again, no? Yun yung mga kailangan natin matutunan ulit and to actually know our history.
Mm. And I like that you brought up, pre-colonial times. Yes, it did exist. People, there were men who were dressing up as women, women dressing up as men. Nobody thought that there was anything wrong with it up until we were colonized and then kind of realized, and then it was imposed on us that this isn't right apparently. But it's a really cool thing to see that through history. It's like this was actually a cultural thing and maybe even a natural thing for humans to try and explore. So it was a really nice realization, especially for me when I found out about that as well, and also opened my eyes about like it's just natural how people would kind of just try and explore different things and realize who they are in this process as well. Now, how do you think? How important do you think are pronouns in terms of the conversation, especially in Filipino? Because like we're confused because Tagalog is usually genderless, like siya, ikaw, ako, and everything like that. So, in terms of pronouns in the English language, how important are they to be used? And um, how do we go about that conversation? No, like, is it going to be how should I call you? Is that how is that how it's supposed to start? I'm genuinely curious as well because that's becoming such a popular thing to do now these days, adding like your pronouns.
But gusto mo
Yeah,
lang simula?
let's go
Sige.
with
Okay.
Let's
Okay.
go lang.
Sige. Yeah, you're correct, Nikki. We need to, if we are in doubt, we can ask the person how we can call them. So, how do you identify yourself? That's more respectful than assuming na she's a she or is a he. No,
Mm-hmm.
rather than using these pronouns incorrectly. I actually have one na anecdote. Nagkamali talaga ako. Kala ko talaga isa siyang trans man. So I
Mm.
told him, her pala, him, a mister. Like,
Oh
with
no.
a microphone. Oh my God. Sabi ko, talagang kainin na ako ng lupa. So parang you cannot determine a person's preferences or identity based on their appearances or in their
Mm.
expressions. So because there are trans people who are actually not taking hormones or not medically transitioning, but already identifying themselves as a man or a woman. So
Mm-mm.
it's really more respectful if we can ask them if we're in doubt. So yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Especially in the workplace, no? Syempre, with the rise of Zoom, kahit na nga yung mga pangalan natin may he, him, they,
Mm-mm.
them, she, her. So, in a work sense, there are contexts that talagang formalize siya and kailangan yung ganung klaseng conversation, no? Especially in a job interview, no? Magandang tanungin din yon.
Mm.
However, there are times, no, like kapag mag-order ka ba ng kape, kailangan mo pa bang explain yung lahat sa sa barista mo. Uh, I guess it would be important. There are different contexts, no. So I guess at least for me, no, hindi ako na offend if people would call me as they, no. Pero for some people that may be offensive then. No? So
Mm.
um, just call them by their name, no?
Mm-mm.
Kapag hindi ka talaga sure, sabihin mo lang na kay Enzo, kay Maria, ganyan.
Mm.
Mga ganong bagay kasi yun nga, not unless it comes from the person, it's themselves, no? Uh, there's no reason for you to not say their name.
Mm. And with that said though, I would like to know just for sure, how do both of you identify as? So at least, we've covered that ground. Sige, Bet, how do you identify?
I identify myself as a gay man. So, but my expression is very androgynous. So,
Mm.
medyo, minsan, very feminine, minsan, hindi naman masyadong masculine, pero masculine
Mm.
in that sense, very androgynous. So, but you can call me him and her. Him or his. My pronouns are
Okay.
him.
All right. What about you, Diego?
I'm a cisgender guy. So, cisgender meaning pinanganak ng lalaki and I identify myself as lalaki.
Mm.
So,
Nawala
yun,
ba siya?
I'm a
Ayun.
I know.
he, him, his. Yeah.
He, him, his. All right. Okay, cool. That's great. I am a she, her. Just to put it out there as well. Just so we're full circle. Now, I
Hello,
also want to
she.
know for those who are for those who might be curious, like I am as well. When does one identify themselves as they and them? Like if you don't identify as a man or a woman,
If
is
they
that
don't
how it is?
conform to the gender binary, which is the man
Okay.
and the woman. So some of our friends are um, gender non-binary, so or gender queer, so
Mm-mm.
sort of like that.
Or
So
agender.
Yeah,
agender,
yeah, right.
those are considered as mix. If you've already heard of it, MX. So instead of Mr. and Miss, you will call them mix, and you can use the
Ooh.
pronouns they and them.
Ah, all right. That's good to know because I've always been curious. Like, can anyone just use they and them? But no, thank you for
Well,
clearing that up. Or can
yeah.
you? You can?
Yeah, actually, finally, the Oxford Dictionary actually recognizes they and them as a singular pronoun na. No,
Mm-mm.
kasi dati, I remember my English teacher correcting my essay. Sinasabi na ba't mo ginagamit yung they, isang
Right.
person lang siya,
Yeah.
singular lang. So, they can
We
now
can,
be, a gender neutral term as well, na referring to a
Ah,
single person.
yeah, that's right. Take that, grammar teachers. I also used they before. Ayoko sabihin she or he. Bakit? Gusto ko
Oo
they.
yan.
Diba?
mas maraming letters, mas marami. Mas
Oo,
maganda.
'di ba? 'Di ba? We're trying to reach a
Pampahaba.
word count here. I know. Oh, this is such a fun conversation. Now, let's go back into the community of MSMs also. So, what are the chief concerns or problems that are faced by an MSM individual these days? Specifically, a gay male here in the NCR plus region. Aside from HIV, what else are the other problems that they might be encountering when they do sexual activities?
Hmm.
Diego.
Well, I guess other than HIV, of course, protecting their heart. Diba? Ang daling ma-attach.
May service ba sa love yourself ng gano'n? Puwede ba?
ano,
Meron ba?
siguro the closest would be Flourish. Kung sobrang devastated na.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Or a
Okay.
retreat.
Oo nga, we have a men's
Oh,
retreat actually, ng pre-pandemic.
Mm-mm.
alright, that's cool. Are you going to bring that back eventually also, the retreats?
Hopefully, no.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
hopefully.
Slowly we're returning to our usual but the new normal
Yeah, still
now.
adjusting, understandably. Now, we'll shift the topic now a little bit into AIDS awareness, into HIV concerns, since this has been pushed to the back of our minds ever since COVID-19 took over. But now, though, is this dangerous, or how dangerous is this, and how bad is the HIV problem here in the Philippines?
Well, in the
Yeah.
Philippines currently, based on the DOH latest data, no, April 2022, there are 39 HIV cases every day.
Wow.
So 39. So actually, eto na yung parang pinakamataas ata eh. Because of the pandemic, na-limit din yung ating mga services. So nagsara
Mm,
din yung ibang mga community centers natin, and people are not able to access these services or the HIV testing services. So during the pandemic, medyo bumaba siya actually, because yun nga, of the restrictions and the limitations on the services. But since nag-open na tayo, nag-pick up na din yung mga numbers because people are able to access these services as well. So
mm.
kaya siya naging 39, and the latest would parang 1,190 something yung total for that month alone,
Wow.
April. So but again, HIV is not a death sentence, so it's better to know your status as early as possible, because some of the cases na reach natin ay mga late diagnosis. And if it's late diagnosis, it's meaning nandun na sila sa age stage. So meron na silang mga symptoms na naranasan or mga opportunistic infections. Yun yung tinatawag namin, like pneumonia, something like that, or tuberculosis,
Mm.
which would add to your risks, health risks, no, as a person living with HIV. And wag na tayong mahiyang magtanong, na sabi nga ni Susan Roses, sumalangit na ba? No, wag mahiyang magtanong to your friends, because kung alam mo naman nakikipag-sex ka or nakikipag-sex ka na walang protection, might as well take your responsibility with for your health, no?
Mm.
Na magpa-test, na magpa-check or magpa-check up, make this a routine yearly or because it's for free. Bakit kayo bakit anong ang hinihintay mo pa, 'di ba? Parang it's given for you for free. Sometimes pwede nga rin tong discreetly, no? In-offer na rin to through ng mas malapit sa iyo, nang hindi na sa center, ng one-on-one lang, ng free pa rin, no? Ano pa, ang ating mga gamot naman for HIV treatment ay free din also. So, ayun. So, maganda na may mga ganitong programs on HIV awareness, HIV
Mm-mm.
advocacy, no? Because mas nalilesen natin yung um, death sa
Yeah.
sakit na ito. So, mas mapipigilan natin, we can curb HIV with our knowledge and our willingness to get tested.
Absolutely, yeah. So we're all still very we all really know, but in like how we get COVID-19. But just to refresh people's memory then, in terms of HIV, how do we avoid getting infected? Or and how is this usually transmitted? Of course, yes, through sexual activities. But is there any other way apart from that you can get HIV as well? And then how yeah, and then also the best ways to prevent an infection from happening.
So there are actually three ways of how you can get HIV or how you can transmit HIV. So only one of those is sexual activity, unprotected penetrative sexual activity.
Mm.
So whether that be anal or vaginal, no, as long as may pumapasok sa isang orifice natin,
Mm.
yun, that poses a risk na. Second is blood products, no? So blood transfusions or if you're tending to someone na with an open wound, tas may open wound ka rin, mga ganong bagay.
Oh.
Uh, then third is mother to child, no? So if an HIV positive, a mother living with HIV rather, is carrying a child, no, and is was not taking their medication, they can pass it to their child, or they can actually pass it through breastfeeding. So that brings me to the four body fluids that can transmit HIV. No,
Mm-mm.
can only be transmitted through vaginal fluids, uh, semen, blood, and breast milk.
Okay.
So only
All
those
other
four.
liquids na lumalabas sa katawan mo, hindi. Ihe,
Yes.
luha,
Spit.
pawis, no. Spit, no.
Okay. Okay. That's good to know. I mean, especially again for those who are in the MSM community as well and who aren't fully aware of like how you can transmit this as well. Could be very helpful in terms of number one, asking your partner if you're going to get intimate with them, and then number two, knowing how this is transmitted as well, just in case, you never know. You never know what can happen at end. So now let's go back to love yourself, PH. Now, is there a difficulty in self love among the LGBTQ community precisely because of the discrimination that they've felt in the past? Bet, let's go with that.
Of course, there is, no. Sobrang malaking epekto, yung impact nung yung society natin, no. If you nurture a safe space for our community members, no, mas madali mag-ilove ang sarili, no. Mas
Mm,
madaling maging ikaw, maging self-aware, mahalin mo yung kung sino ang tunay na ikaw if malaki ang ating support group or maganda ang ating support group. So, nandiyan yung family. Some of our families are really not accepting some of the members of our community, but definitely ang family kapag supportive, mas maganda yung foundation ng isang LGBT individual.
mm,
Also yung mga friends natin, kung kung 'di ba may lalo na sa group of guys 'no, tapos biglang nag-come out yung isang guy, as a gay person or a
Mm-mm.
trans person, ma nagiging aloof sila. So, with that bumababa yung kanilang self-confidence, self-esteem. And if we are really, compassionate and, kind, empathetic to these people na members of LGBT, mas magkakaroon tayo ng safer place, safer world for the LGBT community.
Mm. Yeah. And is there anything you'd like to add, Diego, to that as well?
I guess I would like to share with everyone lang something that our friend in Love Yourself, Rian Portugues, has shared in one of our shows no in Flourish. We say she said na ano when you're LGBT, you sort of suppress your inner feelings of being queer by uh, involving yourself in a lot of different things, no? May it be academics at school or extracurriculars or being active in somewhat other activities at church, ganyan. So, parang to suppress yourself in that, suppress your the feelings that you don't understand yet. You throw yourself at every other thing. Na you forget na to sort of make your own discovery, no? Say
Mm.
because you're resisting some kind of negative stigma, no, that the negative stereotypes that you see in media. So as parang the longer parang you're fighting so much to say that you're not this, that you forget to discover who you are. Parang ganon. Yun yung, I
Mm.
guess, yung pinaka-struggle natin as a queer community.
Yeah. And so now how you mentioned also, for example, from Bet's example nga na parang bigla na lang you have a circle of friends, circle of guy friends, bigla na lang you come out to them and they become aloof. But for straight people now, like how, I mean, quote unquote straight people, how can we be allies to the LGBTQIA plus community? Like what do we have to do? What are what can we do to help or to support your causes, or even just to be an ally to a friend even who is a part of this community? What are some ways that we can be allies?
Well, for me, the basic, of it is respect. No, I think allyship is not a choice. Allyship should be an absolute response to respecting people. So whatever their choices, no, it's an absolute, um, thing for them to respect one another. So, if sabihin nga natin everyday is Pride, no? Kahit hindi na June, dapat everyday is Pride. Dapat ang allyship is also everyday and should not be
Mm.
unconditional. So, parang you're just be there. Hindi mo naman kailangan mag-create ng malalaking events or something like that, but be a friend to your friend is part of the LGBT. Be a kuya, be an ate to a younger LGBT
Mm,
or an
right.
older LGBT. So sort of those kinds of things na be human lang,
Yeah, be human. That's that's important
'di
for
ba?
sure. Diego, any other ways that we can be allies to the LGBTQIA plus?
I guess it's really important to listen. No? And listening is part of respect that Beth was talking about kanina. Especially when you're interacting with someone who is in the queue of the LGBTQ, which is questioning.
Mm,
So someone who isn't really sure. So when someone isn't really sure, you don't need to throw out kumbaga you don't need to throw out conclusions to them when they themselves don't haven't figured it out yet, no. So just listen and uh be someone who they can rely on to be a safe space.
mm. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. It's important, especially like, respect and listening and just trying to see it from your eyes, I guess. Also, like, how you see yourself. And I think that's one way for us to better understand, like who you are as a person. Because, we're still people at the end of the day.
True.
Yeah.
We just have different lifestyle choices, but we're still people at the end of the day. So I know it's a very important thing, I think, for us to be allies to one another, to be allies with the community as well. Now, what are some of the services for from Love Yourself PH that you can provide for those who are in the MSM community, and for those who are, exploring their sexuality and, just getting out there and just being their truest self?
Well, basically, love yourself is open to all genders, no? Kung ano man i-identify yung sarili mo, straight ka man or hindi, bakla, LGBT, you are welcome at Love Yourself. To access our services, we have free HIV services, no?
Mm.
Free HIV testing, our treatment support and care are also free. So we have also free prep for those who are in need and those who are part of the key populations. um, we also have sexually transmitted infection services, such as gonorrhea, syphilis, treatment for those kinds of
Mm.
other sexually transmitted infections aside from HIV. And as mentioned nga ni Diego, we also have Flourish, which is a mental health service, no, wherein we provide counseling as well to people experiencing mental burdens or emotional burdens. No, we also have that referral mechanism for them if they needed medical attention. No, as well as the last service that we have is trans focused, which is a trans health program, Transcend, wherein, well, actually, hindi lang siya for trans people eh. We also include cisgender women rights and services for them. So, nandun yung gender affirming hormone therapy, consultations, again, sexual health, and other um, needs ng ating community, the transgender community. So, there.
Mm. All right.
Maybe,
Oh, is there
Diego.
anything else, Diego?
Yeah, actually, that's all the services that we provide. No, we have a lot of centers across the Philippines. So we have one in Cebu called Love Yourself White House, and we have a lot here in the metro. Bukas na ba yung sa Baguio, Beth? Regarding.
Actually, we have coming soon Baguio. Love Yourself Baguio, no. In Metro Manila, we have five. We have Lily in Parañaque. We have Victoria in Pasay. We have Athena in North Caloocan. We have Welcome in Manila. Anglo in Mandaluyong. So, and also
Mm.
we have one in Bacoor, which is Hero by Love Yourself, and we have extensions in Puerto Princesa, which is Amostara, and Bagani in Bacolod, which is yeah, in Bacolod. Bakani by Love Yourself in Bacolod. So
Mm.
there. And we also have different community centers na tinutulungan all over the Philippines as far as Zamboanga. We call them champion community centers, and there are also groups who are working on those community centers na community based. So we are helping them to be modeled as Love Yourself as well. So ayun.
All right. Wow. I'm like, it's been such a pleasure to speak to the both of you, Beth and Diego. And just to open my eyes also with regard to, just learning more and gaining knowledge about, this particular community, what they're going through right now. And now also in honor of Pride Month, but every day should be Pride. You don't just, respect people this month. Respect them every day for the whole year. Why not? Now, before we say goodbye, invite our audience, the monsters who are tuned in on radio, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, for the projects and programs, or better yet, the LoveCon that is happening this weekend. Go ahead.
Okay. Hello, Monsters. LoveCon June 26, 1 p.m. onwards, we will be having booths. We will have performances. We will have Pride Heels protests, High Heels Pride protests. No, come join us. We will have meet and greet with other celebrities who are part of our program and part of our ambassadorship. So hopefully we can see you there, and there will be exciting booths like kissing booths, very kissing booths, jail booths, marriage booths, because
What?
yes,
Wow.
you can come and kiss
Yeah.
somebody.
Oh, okay. For that reason
Also,
only, I'm there.
and don't forget, it's in Arcovia City.
Yeah.
Yes. In Pasig lang, no?
Yes,
Lapit
Yes.
lang.
Ugong.
Lapit lang. All
Along
right.
C5, yes. Kung
Yes, let's
nakikita niyo yung may
go.
bagong arko doon, that's where it is.
All right. Anybody you want to say hi to or tuned in? Joa mo, bet.
Nakikinig ka ba? Hello?
Well, is there anybody you'd like to say hi to? Friends from Love Yourself who might be tuned in as well. You also can say that before we say goodbye.
Oh, that.
To all the lovers, hello. Thank you for supporting Love Yourself, no, for being the for being there for the love yourself, for the community, for helping the community. You know, you are the lifeblood, the soul of the organization. So thank you, especially also to our staff who are very dedicated in their work. So maraming pong salamat. And to all the listeners, visit Love Yourself pages. Love Yourself, just look Love Yourself, type in, and then www.loveyourself.ph for our website. So yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yay. Oh my gosh. What a nice chat we had this evening for Heard on Thursdays. You were tuned in with me, Nikki. Also, I was joined by Beth and Diego from Love Yourself PH. It is Pride Month. And this show, this particular episode, is probably a good reminder of for all of us to just learn how to respect and, listen to one another. Maybe not necessarily love immediately, but respect one another so that we can understand each other more, open up a conversation also with this community, so at least there's a better understanding, because the only reason why people are uncomfortable is because they don't know, and they're afraid of, like, things that they don't know about. So yeah, it's better to have this conversation. And this is your reminder to do that. Now, it is time to end the show. Thank you so much, Beth and Diego, for joining me this evening. We went a little past 1 hour, but so much was talked about, and I hope the monsters have learned a thing or two as well, definitely, from this episode tonight. But that is it. Thank you so much for tuning in, monsters. For now, keep it locked only here on The Monster. Bye bye.
Monster exclusive interview. Only from